So here I am with Ruben and Marilu, and it's 11:01 Eastern time. I guess 8:01 in North Vancouver.
Yes.
And it's the 19th of November, and we were just talking about the weather. Marilu, Ruben sent me an agenda. Was there, because we're only going to have you for the first hour, is there anything you particularly wanted to cover off in the first hour?
Yeah, marketing.
I would like marketing mostly.
To
get more clients,
right.
Because we
makes sense.
Okay, yes, we will tell you what we are doing to attract clients. But maybe for sure.
So you tell me what you're doing now, and then I'll see if I can add anything.
Yes, that we are doing now is we put some ads on the local newspapers. There was an ad last week, and there is another advertisement because the community has 2 newspapers. The second ad is coming this weekend, and also these ads are on the front page.
Wow.
We have it's like a banner. It's like a
banner. Yeah.
It's a 3 by what?
3 by 2.
By 2 or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we have one ad on the other.
The classifieds.
The classified
inside
the newspaper for 4 weeks, and one of the newspaper.
Are they in French?
Yes.
Yes, in French and English. And this week also we have Facebook.
Well, not
and Kijiji, Facebook distribution.
Yeah, the Facebook page is ready. We are not. So those are the things that we can talk today about. What will be the other things? The website is
ready.
The website is ready, but the website really, in reality, doesn't do too much marketing by itself, right? So
because we need like the localization through Google Maps, but we haven't received yet the code.
Yeah, there's a code for Google Maps.
For Google Maps, we have some Kijiji advertisement. Yeah, this is that we have. Yeah.
So can you? I'm gonna make you guys the co-host, and can you show me one of your ads, please? The one that's running in the newspaper.
Did you put it in the folder, or is only?
It's in the folder.
Because she sends everything to Marilu.
Okay.
If not in your phone.
In my phone. Oh, my phone. Okay.
Yeah, because what happened is Charmaine makes the ad and she does everything. I mean, she has come up as a great property coordinator. I'm really surprised because we gave her a list of things, and I mean, she has been doing her homework very efficiently.
Well, Ruben, as extra storage grows, and as you add more locations, if you have somebody who's really good, these days you could be the property coordinator for a place in Wyoming and live in Champlain. You could be an owner of Champlain and live in North Vancouver.
Well, she is, and she has done, we send her videos for the software and all of that, but for those ads on the paper, I mean, she did all of that, and she's been talking to people. She we printed business card. We can show it. It's right there. No, where you have those little cards. Well, we can show you the cards, but basically the ad in the newspaper.
So
I think Marilu has it on her computer.
Yeah, Marilu.
Yeah.
If you send it to me by email, I could just put it up on the screen. That might be the best.
Okay. Yeah, I'll send you.
But
And do you have also, Mary Lou, do you have a copy of your business cards?
Yes.
that one is in Vistaprint. It's in we save it in Vistaprint. Let me share it to you on the screen.
Okay,
quickly.
please do.
Vistaprint.
Any luck, Ruben?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay, so are you gonna give me wait? Oh,
Yeah, I made you co-host. You could share your screen.
yeah. Where did it go?
So you just put your cursor, wiggle it around in the middle of the Zoom window. At the bottom, kind of in the middle, it'll say in green, share screen.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. I have it here on my screen, so I'll.
All right. Can you hit Control plus plus just to make it a little bigger? Should be able to go Control plus plus.
Yeah, it didn't go. It didn't go.
Oh, okay, well, I'll have to go blind.
Where? Yeah, I thought that I could make it bigger in here, even. Okay.
That's okay. All right. I'll just
So we order. Yeah, we order 500 of these, and
Okay.
and Charmaine is distributing this. We can make changes on this thing anytime and order more.
Right.
But
Right. So you remember what I said, Ruben, that it's very important to have an email address on your business card.
an email address. Yeah, we don't have an email address. Well,
Just hang on a second. It's an incredible number of people today who will not take the extra step to go to extrastoragechamplain.com and look up for your contact information. People today want to be spoon-fed. They want you to breastfeed them.
we're gonna have to create an email to support in Champlain.
You do need that. info@extrastoragechamplain.com is the wrong email address, though. The reason for that is lots of people have, info@brucemfirestone.com, info@ibm.com, and you send them an email, you never get an answer. So
yeah, we use support.
Yeah, but no, you're sorry. I'm not making myself clear. I'll try again.
Oh, they don't.
So you have to personalize it. So even if you had a fictitious person, it doesn't have to be Mary Lou or Ruben. It can be Sally or Suzanne. You might pick a name. I do this all the time with my clients.
Oh, with a name. It doesn't matter if it's Ruben and Marilu.
What you can do is you can create an alter ego, a French alter ego. So the spellings of Suzanne is Suzanne. It sounds good in English, but it's a very French name. So here's what I would do, Ruben, is on all of your business cards and on all of your signs, I would have an email address, because I have a lot of experience at this. And that one extra step of going to extrastoragechamplain.com is one step too many for a lot of people. And today, a lot of people don't want to call. They don't. They want to email, and it's just very, very, very typical. But if you put info@extrastorageChamplain.com, like I said, it's not personal. It's not part of the friendly storage place.
Well, I like Suzanne. If you like.
No, Suzanne is a lovely name. So you just create Suzanne@extrastorageChamplain.com, and that email address can come to both of you. Goes to Marilu and to Ruben. And so, indeed, it can go to Charmaine also, especially if it's en français. So you could just forward any emails that come in to Suzanne, and then you just respond as Suzanne.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, by the way, I have an alter ego. Her name is Nina Brooks. Her name is Nina Brooks. She doesn't actually exist, but you know, I do some keynote speaking, right?
Yeah.
And Nina is my executive assistant, because it looks better if you're, you know, I'm not like President Obama. You know, he's kind of up here and I'm sort of way, way, way down here in terms of keynote speaking. But it's nice to have, you know, an executive assistant who people can get in touch with and say, look, I know how busy Prof. Bruce is, which is true, I am busy. So I thought I would contact your executive, Ms. Brooks, to see if Bruce would be available to give a keynote for the Entrepreneurs Organization, which I'm doing. And so I write back as Nina, right, from my my Nina account, and I say, "Oh, thank you so much. I'll reach out to Prof. Bruce right away to see if he can fit you in on his schedule, his busy schedule." You understand what I'm getting at?
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that's not my trick. I learned that trick from a good friend of mine. So when you're a sole practitioner like me, it does seem a little bit artificial, but it's very important, you know, for me. And it's also very important for you as the friendly store that you don't use support at Champlain or support. You use actual names. They don't have to be real. And Suzanne will be with you as an employee for the rest of your lives. She's never going to quit.
And people believe they will contact a person already with a name.
They will contact a person 5 times, 10 times, 30 times more often than they will contact info or support or anything else. People don't like that. It's, you know, the world is a very tough place right now. Millions of people are out of work. But even before this COVID-19 whacked the planet, I was telling people to personalize every email. You know, executive director at, you know, so-and-so. That's a terrible email address. If I'm the executive director of a not-for-profit organization, I'm Bruce Firestone at that organization. You know, I don't want to be, you know, some impersonal. Am I making any sense, Ruben?
It will be right away when we finish this. I can do the we have an account in a service where we have all of these emails and we can redirect that. So today, the only thing is that all of these business cards, they're already printed. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna ask Charmaine to write it on the back of the card.
Absolutely, absolutely. Handwritten is even better in some ways.
Yeah, so we'll do that, and then we're gonna change the ads on the paper. I think we still.
I think you should, and you should give you should give Suzanne a second name. She should have a second name. You know, my executive assistant is Nina Brooks, and I have a very famous photography friend. She lives in Moscow, and she gave me a picture to use for Nina. Would you like to see it?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Let me stop sharing.
No, I'm going to show it with you if I can find it. Hang on a second.
So, okay, so what would be, it should be a short last name.
Well, I've got one for you.
Susanna.
Let's see if I can find Nina here. If Nina's in here somewhere.
No, to put it in the marketing folder.
Va a ver que para esta semana no podemos cambiar ya eso.
No, para la semana no, pero we
No,
can change.
la que viene sí.
Yeah.
No mires ningún otro email.
No.
Okay.
No, I only want to
So I'll share this with you guys. You're gonna laugh. Can you stop sharing your screen for a minute, please? You're getting pretty good at that, Ruben.
Yeah.
So we gave her name is Nina Brooks. She's the director of communications.
Look at that.
She's got her own email address, ninabrooks@rogers.com, and she has her own phone number, but it just goes to voicemail. And this picture here is a young woman who's quite a well-known model, but only if you live in Moscow. and my friend, she is a very famous photographer, Marilu. She does like big shoots for like Vogue magazine, you know, Vanity Fair. I mean, some of the biggest magazines in the world. I told her what I was doing, and she said, "Oh, I got the perfect person." You know, she's a young person. She's a nice looking person. And people really relate to her. So
that she replies as a
so you give her a personality, you know, you actually Nina is actually on LinkedIn too, by the way. Do you understand, Marilu?
Yeah. Yes, I totally understand. Okay. Because, you know, I reply in the Wyoming self-stories, and some people have mentioned to me that they want to meet me.
Of course they do. So
yeah,
have a look at the chat box.
The chat.
Pelletier. Suzanne Pelletier.
No, it's a French name. It's called Pelletier.
Oh, Pelletier.
Pelletier. It's French.
I was doing it as a Spanish, Pelletier.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, I know you can speak Spanish. I'm jealous, by the way. Spanish is such a beautiful, but anyway, you could call her Suzanne Pelletier. And what you might do is you might give her a nice email address, Ruben, like suzanne.pelletier@extrastoragechamplain.com. And you have to tell Charmaine so she doesn't blow the secret, right? But I'm not kidding. Nina has been working with me for 10 years, and she hasn't aged a single day.
And that's
one. She's retaining her nice looks beautifully even after 10 years.
Yeah, very good makeup.
So you know, I mean, it is. Okay. And by the way, when you're writing to a large company, they're now. I mean, people are not stupid. I mean, some people are stupid, but many of the large companies are doing exactly the same thing. They create these addresses. The names are like Suzanne Pelletier, Bill Smith, whatever, and they're not. And it's just because there's turnover in your call center. Mm-hmm. Right, and so they just create, you know, 20 or 30 personalities. You know, they would have Spanish names, they would have French names, they would have English names, they would have Arabic names, if there's such a thing. You know, they would have they would have, you know, Mohammed Aboud, but the guy who's answering it might be, you know, John Johnson. You know, he's not Mr. Aboud. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, what about the call center? Because now we have that phone number where this call center replies. I mean, they answer the phone in Utah, and it's anyone, right, there.
Well, that's a different thing. I'm not worried about the call center. I'm worried about one thing, and that is email. You know, in my coaching practice, for every you know, phone call I get, and for every text I get probably 150 emails. It's so disproportionate. It's not even close. So if I had to give up on my cell phone and my texting, which I don't want to do, it would not impact my coaching practice a lot. I would lose maybe 3 or 4% of the leads, but that is by far the biggest source of leads. And you know, I must have at least close to 15 people in the mini storage business that I'm coaching in Canada and the United States, and I'm telling all of them the same thing. But I'm not winning a lot of times, you know, because people are so caught up in, well, we've always done it this way. But if you put a name and an email address on your business cards, also on your signage, it will really help you, in my opinion.
Okay,
very good. That will be done today.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. So can you, did you send me the ad, Mary Lou?
Yes.
Okay, let's
Yes.
have a look at that. Oh, here it is. All right, hang on a sec.
Yeah, well, after that, I'll talk about these signs.
Oh, and because it's 3 signs.
Hmm? Which one did you send, the last one or the original one? The one that is going
both
on
of
today?
them.
All right. Ooh, hang on a sec. All right, I have it here. We're gonna look at it together. So is this on the front page?
Yes. That's a 2 by, it's a 3 by 1, 3 by 2. It's like a banner on the they put a few banners on the front page on that newspaper.
Okay,
Do you
so-
have one newspaper?
So the one thing that I think you should put in every single ad is the friendly storage place in English and French. That's so important. That's your tagline. Everywhere you see Nike, you see the swoosh and you see just do it, right?
Yeah.
So extra storage Champlain, obviously it should have the tagline there in English and in French. And then somewhere it should have Suzanne.Pelge at extrastorage.champlain.com. So I think this ad is excellent. Extra storage open, ouvert, Longueuil. I think that's really good. You've got RVs, boats, vehicles. Yeah, it's excellent. Okay, but the fact is, the fact that the friendly place is missing is a really important element, because that's what you trade on. That makes you different, in my opinion. I mean, how many companies, we've talked about this before, Mary Lou, how many companies do you deal with, like, your credit card company or your bank or your utility company, that are actually friendly?
Yes, that's true.
You call them up and it's not, for most people, it's not a very good experience.
Okay. And this is the other
that's
one.
really important. Sorry, go ahead.
No, this other one here
Yeah.
is the one that is going inside, isn't it? No.
No, this one was the one that went to the first.
Oh yeah, that's right. There were
newspaper.
2 newspapers. Yeah. But I think we should keep the we should keep the same colors. What we added on the newspaper this week is we added, like you put on the Kijiji ad, something like a hook, neat storage or something like that. I haven't.
Oh.
You have that one?
Oh, on the phone.
On the phone.
Yes. Okay.
Necesitas guardarlo en el folder, no en el folder de la computadora. Okay, so we'll get better at this because we're doing this every week.
No, it's fine. I mean, hey, listen, I mean, I'm learning every day. I look at things I've been doing at Ruben for 10 years. And then today I was looking at something I've been doing forever. And I realized, I mean, there's something so obvious that I should add that I have never added. So I mean, in business, everything's an experiment.
No question. I was in another system in here, a training system, and they recommend to put in the back of the business card. And I didn't do it on this one, but it's very easy to do it in the next print. They recommend to put something like a testimonial or something like that on the back of the card. Now we don't have obviously a testimonial yet or like that, but we don't have too much room in the front of that card at the moment. We can still use the back of the card. I mean, the back of the card, the one that we printed, is empty actually at the moment.
So on the back of the card, what you would add is some questions and some testimonials. And we'll come back to that in a minute. Let's go to my website for a moment, okay? Have a look at this, Ruben. This is my website. You've seen it before.
Yeah.
So what do you see here? A testimonial from Trish Taylor. We are all lucky to have you in our lives. Bruce, you are truly an awesome person. Thank you for what you do for people like us, teaching us to be Firestone Institute co-coaches. And I've got a million of them somewhere. I've got them. I mean, I have on this website, I don't know exactly where, but I've got a million testimonials. Prof. Bruce is the ultimate real estate investment coach. You don't only learn about real estate, you learn about life. George Adamachi, real estate investor, air traffic controller. I'm sure I've got a million more here. I realize now that it was my fear holding me back, and I'm glad that Prof. Bruce helped me push through all that fear because it has been a great learning experience. I can't imagine my life without having bought my first investment property. So Ruben, when you're in an airport, do you ever buy like a book to read, just one of those, books you can read in an hour and a half? When you pick it up, you look, oh, this looks kind of interesting. And then you turn the back, and what does it have down the back?
Normally it's testimonials.
It does, page turner, couldn't put it down, Washington Post.
Yeah.
Right? So you must have from from Extra Storage, Wyoming, you must have some nice testimonials from your existing clients. Actually,
no, we've been asking these guys to add testimonials, but nobody's writing or reviews, and we're gonna have to create or maybe push it.
What I do is, what I do to get testimonials.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on a second. I have hundreds of them, but what happens is, like after I finish coaching, or maybe sometimes during the coaching that I do, somebody might write me a nice email. Bruce, you really made a difference in my life, and I just wanted to let you know that. So what I'll do is I'll write back to them and say, well, that is a very nice thing. You made my day. Would it be okay if I said, and then I actually write it and I put quotes around it. I started coaching with Prof. Bruce 4 months ago, and in just 4 months, it has been absolutely life-changing. I bought my first investment property, and I'm off to the races, quote marks, Paul Cairns. November 2020. So I actually write them for people, usually based on what they've told me, but I'm a better writer than most of the people that write to me. So I take their words, I wordsmith them a little bit, and I send it back to them. And in almost every case, I don't think I've ever been told no, but obviously you have to get their permission to use it on your website, and their names, obviously.
Yeah.
And some people have said, you can use it, but you can only call me Paul. You can't put my last name in. No problem. Then I just put down Paul. So I don't have any testimonials from fake people. Like Suzanne Peltier should not be writing the testimonial. That's not fair.
Yes.
That's not fair. I wouldn't do that. So the people, I probably have throughout my website, I probably have 100 testimonials on there. And Ruben, you're absolutely correct, or whoever was doing the training was absolutely correct. Those are crucial. And what I'd like, but you have to actually go out and, you must have had at least a few emails from people saying, hey, Ruben, I just wanted to tell you, I love dealing with you and Marilu. You must have a few emails like that from some clients.
I think
we have
so.
some emails.
So.
Yeah.
We have done it in the apartment building.
So I would write back to them. Hang on. I would write back to them and say, Mary, thank you so much for that email that you sent me, a year ago. We've just opened up a new place in Ontario, in a little town of Champlain, and I was wondering if we could just say, use your words. And then you just create that. So I've been dealing with Extra Storage for a couple of years. And when they say they're the friendly place, they really mean it, Mary. Yeah. And it's those things that go on the website for Champlain, but also for Wyoming. Mm-hmm. And it goes on your business cards and even on your signs.
Yeah.
you can never have too much testimonials. And I know it's corny, but everybody who buys a book, a record, you know, a painting, everybody loves testimonials. Like, you know, this artist is the best I've ever seen, you know, signed, you know, President Obama, you know, I don't know, or Michelle Obama, you know, people just love that. They don't want to be the only ones who are subscribing to anything. Nobody really wants to be first.
Yeah. So we'll definitely will get the testimonials for that, and we'll make the changes on
and put it on all the websites. And the fact that these testimonials are for Wyoming doesn't mean you can't put them in Champlain, because it's the same people operating Champlain as Wyoming. Last time I checked.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a few other things I wanted to show you. So I probably have shown you these cards before. Hang on a sec.
We just wanted to show you quickly the newspaper.
Oh, okay.
That we put, and
beautiful. Oh, it's beautiful.
Now this is not the ad because we haven't received the actual paper, but the ad is like this banner here, but half of it.
Perfect.
Half of it, like this.
That's awesome. Okay, let me share my screen with you. And these are postcards that I created many years ago now. And here are the questions that I asked. It's kind of hard to read, but so the first one was, too much stuff in your garage and can't park your car inside? Need a safe place to store things while you move? No more room at your place of business for new employees? Want a secure offsite location to store important records, files, backup tapes, DVDs? Desire personal service and attention from a manager who lives on site? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then Blue Heron Storage can help you. Self-storage.
Well, you have another page.
You have a different page while you're reading. It's a different, you were reading from a different file.
There we go.
Hang on, that's the one.
I apologize.
I
was really enjoying talking to myself.
Okay, see, that's need a safe place.
I apologize. So one of the things that for me, when I ran my own mini storage business that was very effective was, this is two sides of a postcard. Okay. And what we would do is we would print up 5,000 of these. I apologize for the lack of clarity earlier, but we would print up 5,000 of these and we would distribute them twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall.
Oh, and yes, I believe in the...
It was fantastic. So you know what a postal walk is, Marilu?
Pardon me?
Do you know what a postal walk is?
A postal walk. I don't know, but it's a flyer? Is similar like flyer or no?
So the Canada Post Corporation and the United States Postal Service, they divide up all cities and towns, counties, villages, you name it, into what are called postal walks, individual areas that a single mailman or mail woman, I don't know, you know what I mean, a male person, postal worker can walk or drive. Okay, are you with me on that?
Yes, yes.
So when you look at a map of North Vancouver, if you go down to your post office, they'll have in North Vancouver, I don't know, they'll have 150 postal walks where one individual can cover that walk, right? And
yes.
So you can go and choose. These days you can do it online. You used to have to go into the post office and go up to a big map on a wall and decide which ones. But we were printing up 5,000 of these cards. It was costing us about 40 cents a card, two-sided. And we would go to the post office and we would pick out the postal walks that we wanted to cover. So if it's a very poor area of town, maybe that postal walk isn't something that we would, we would necessarily drop our postcards off, because, people who have too much stuff tend to have more money than they know what to do with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so you can pick out, and I'm sure that Charmaine can help you with this. You can pick out which postal walks you want, and some of them should include commercial. And I'll tell you why. When I ran Blue Heron Storage, about 20% of our storage lockers were rented by companies. Every company has way too much used furniture and all kinds of other crap in their offices that they can't really use anymore, and it's just cluttering them up. And so the questions I was asking: have you got too much stuff in your garage? You need a safe place to store things. There's no more room at your place of business for new employees because you got too much crap. You want a secure offsite location to store important things, and you want personal service and attention. In your case, you want personal service and friendly attention. If you answer yes to those questions, call Extra Storage Champlain. And Marilu, I will send you these postcards.
Okay, thank you.
Afterwards, so you can have a look at them. Now, if you look at this carefully, you'll notice there's no email address on here. That's something I learned later, Ruben. So you can see
this is something that I was going to ask you.
Yeah, Prof. Bruce gets a B- here, maybe even a C. So you can see we have our website here. We have our phone number here. I'm sure we have our address on here. Yes, we do. Oh, I lied. Look. So we did have it, but it wasn't personalized. It was info@blueheronstorage.com, and it should have been Suzanne or Nina. It would have been. I'll leave Suzanne for you. I won't. I won't use that. That's unique to you guys. All right. But what I was going to recommend to you is that you draft. And it would help me, Marilu, if I could see the postcards before you print them, just because I've got a good eye for this thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we'll do that.
Any more, just send them to your coach.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, but what I was going to say is that these postcards should go out February 15th.
Yeah, they should go out in the next
not now. Between now and Christmas, our goose is kind of cooked at this point, and January is a complete dead nothing. So in terms of the postcards, if you're going to do that, the postal walks and the delivery has to start on February 15th. Most people think the spring market starts March 21st. It does not. It starts February 15th. By the middle of February, the sun is just that much higher in the sky, even though it's still very cold here. The sun is a little bit higher in the sky, and people come out of hibernation. And the housing market starts to take off on the 15th of February, and people are looking to, do new things. Finally they say, we're going to clean up our basement. We're going to turn it into something we can use instead of having just tons of junk in our basement or tons of junk in our garage. So they start as soon as you get a little bit more sunshine in February. So February 15th to the end of February, not March, not April, not May, but February 15th to the end of February, all of these cards go out. Mm-hmm. Something else you need to know is that the more often you distribute these cards, the more effective they are.
Yes.
So you do it at the February 15th, and then you do it August 15th.
So you just drop it in the mailbox of the business and the house?
No. So what happens is, if you go to Canada Post Corporation, so it cost us 40 cents for each card, and it cost us another 30 cents. I don't know what it is today. I'm out of date. But it cost us 30 cents for Canada Post to deliver them. So you don't want Charmaine to deliver them. That would take her forever.
Yes.
So what happens is you deliver, and you might only do 2,000 postcards because Champlain's a lot smaller than Canada. But say you did 2,000 postcards and it cost 70 cents, including delivering them through Canada Post. It's about a $1,400 investment twice a year. It might be more than that. I don't know. You'll have to figure it out on your own. But what actually happens is you get them printed by Vistaprint. Charmaine actually takes them to the post office, and the post office then puts them into the walks that you've selected. So you can actually select those.
Yeah.
All right. So you select the geography, and what happens is the first time these cards go out for extra store Champlain, people are going to lose them. They're going to say, oh, I don't need that. Then in the fall, usually it's the wife, when the wife is saying to her husband, you've still got too much stuff, honey, too much in the garage, too much in the basement. We've got to declutter. In the fall, when that card comes a second time, they go, oh, this is what I was looking for. I remember we got that in the spring and I just threw it out. And I used to run a company called Rental X Tool and Equipment. We rented tools, construction tools and equipment, but also household items, and we did this twice a year. And the effectiveness just kept going up and up and up. By the time we were in our year 10, we had 24 stores in Ottawa and Toronto. We're doing millions of dollars in operational top line revenues, and our bottom line, we're making $300,000 or $400,000 or $500,000 a year back in the 1980s. I sold that business so I could buy a hockey team. And again, you know what happens to all the money that goes into a hockey team, right?
Yeah.
It never comes back. It only goes in and never comes out again. I'd rather have Rental X Tool and Equipment back and Blue Heron Stores, trust me, than the hockey team. Just for your information, Ruben, the NHL has looked at some numbers. They will lose at least $1 billion operating their teams this year.
Because there's no people on the stands.
They might have a few hundred, but they won't have many. I mean, they're going to lose $1 billion. So if you ask me whether I would want to own the Ottawa Senators again, that would be a big no.
No, yeah.
Yes.
All right. So these postcards are a fantastic way to go. Now, there's a few other things in this PDF that I wanted to show you.
One question, Bruce, because you say postcards, what size are these?
They were literally the size of a postcard. The postcards that people used to, not a business card, a postcard.
Yes.
Sort of like that.
Okay.
I think it's about 3 by 6 or 4 by 6.
Yeah.
Like
I think so.
Yeah.
I actually have all of that detail somewhere, and I will send it to you. But it's a real postcard. It looks really nice. It was, when you see it printed, it was a very, very nice printing. And I'll see if I can find the originals images.
So we get some of those from mainly realtors in here in our house.
Sure. So the other thing that I think you should do, we've talked about this before, is you can order some lawn signs, and those Charmaine can put up on the main road.
Yeah, so those we didn't at this moment. We kind of put that one on hold because the snow is coming and all that. So I think the snow plow and all of that will.
These are not supposed to be permanent signs. These are just, you know what a lawn sign is, Ruben?
Yeah.
So you can print lawn signs for $10.
Yeah.
And,
but it's only for a few days, and then we can return.
Yeah, so I used to print them up, for Canada, and I put them at strategic locations, and I expected people would steal them.
Okay.
And they did, or take, the city comes along and they take them, or the snowplow hits them and that's the end of them. But it is very effective advertising. Listen, in North Vancouver, Ruben, in North Vancouver, when somebody's running for local council, do they put a lawn signs out?
Oh yeah. All around the city.
How do you think they do that, Ruben?
Because when you drive it, you see it, right? And I think it's because that's how they get people to vote for them.
Right. So do you think they put lawn signs up because they're not effective?
Oh, I see. Because they are.
So if you want to know, I'm going to tell you, if you ever want to have a bet with one of your friends, who's going to win your local ward, 3 or 4 days before the municipal election, drive around your ward and count the number of lawn signs, and whoever has the most is likely going to win.
Oh, wow.
That's how the NDP won in here.
Statistics.
I'll bet you they had a lot of lawn signs.
Oh, yes. Oh, you see that orange sign all over.
All over. So I mean, one of my friends, Jenna Suds, was running for councillor in Canada, and against two very strong male candidates. Jenna is a very nice looking young woman. She has three beautiful children. She worked very hard. She did a lot of door knocking. But I made sure, I mean, I was advising her campaign, I made sure that she had by far the most lawn signs. Everyone said she was going to lose that election, you know, badly. And instead, Ruben and Marilu, Jenna won by 3,000 votes. She just won big time. So, so what I would suggest is, and I'll just share my screen again, is that these are not supposed to be permanent, okay? These lawn signs. You could get Vistaprint to print up maybe a dozen lawn signs, cost you $120, maybe with delivery $150, and I would do that right away. Even if you have to, even if poor old Charmaine is just putting them up on the main road, saying, you know, extra store Champlain ici, you know?
Arrow.
And don't forget they're two-sided, so you can do the same thing with your business card as you do with your lawn sign. But you can see the lawn signs have to be more simpler, okay? Mary Lou,
Yes.
lawn signs cannot have a lot of detail on them. Do you see this lawn sign here?
Yes, it's only the name.
Yeah, it's only the name here. Bernie for president. That was when Mr. Sanders, I think, was running for president. So it has to be, you know, the friendly storage place, extra storage Champlain, but it has to be one side English, one side French, and then just an arrow. Something very simple, but you do need your email address on there, because what people will do, the only two things I would put on there would be the name, extra storage Champlain, the friendly storage place, and then I would put an arrow. And then underneath that, I would put the email address, and underneath that, I would put the website. I wouldn't even put the phone number on. And I would do a dozen of those as fast as I possibly could. And I'd ask Charmaine to just, you know, and she'll tell you, well, they're not going to last very long. That's okay. We have to get word out that you're open now.
Yeah.
And for, you know, how much are you paying for one ad in the newspaper on the front page?
160.
Yeah.
For one a week.
Yeah, so if these lawn signs last a couple of weeks, I'd be thrilled. And how many people will see them? A lot more people will see them, in my opinion, than the front of the newspaper, perhaps.
I guess, yes. Yeah, that's true.
So we can print.
And if and sometimes teenage boys, they go and they snatch these things. They put them in their basement because they think it's funny. And I'm okay with that too. It just means that extra store Champlain is in somebody's basement. You know, and the boys will grow up and they'll have a motorcycle and they'll need to put it somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, and people will say, "Oh, what is this extra story?" Yeah.
All right.
Oh, we'll order that, right? We're gonna place an order today.
That's good. I mean, those things are gold. All right. Let me see. I've got a few others in here. I was just looking for other ideas. So there's Blue Heron Storage.
I have that document.
Which one? This one?
That one.
Good. All right. Thank you. That's great to know. All right. I think that was it on that. Now, I had a couple others on the marketing side. I am quite sure, Mary Lou, that Kijiji is going to be a good thing for you. So I would keep running those Kijiji ads.
Okay.
But obviously in French and English, right? So I like that. Yeah, so we dealt with the postcards, and you're still working to get your email newsletter out, right, Ruben?
Well, yeah, that's the idea. I have it in there pending because this is something that posted back. But the email will go to only the database of investors in here. That's what you're referring to?
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're just talking marketing then. So, but if eventually your newsletter becomes an important part of your marketing. All right, so there was one other thing that I was going to suggest you do as well. So the main ones I think that will work for you are on-site signage, lawn signs, the postcards, and Kijiji ads. Those are the main things that I think will work for you. I don't think Facebook, I love the idea of having a Facebook page, but I have found Facebook ads not very good.
Yeah, it's the same opinion that our son, yeah.
Yeah, I think your son is right. And I have to tell you, I don't think
Yeah.
Google Ads will work for you either. I think it's Kijiji, it's the postcards, it's the lawn signs, it's the on-site signage, and it's the I think that's about it. Those are the things that I think will really get there.
Kijiji, postcard, the lawn signs.
I have it in
I Ruben have.
here.
Okay.
Just one comment, Bruce.
Yes.
Yesterday, I participated in a seminar put up by the Canadian. We are a member of the Canadian Self-Storage Association. And one of the guys in there was talking about, there were big companies in there, Public and all of these guys, but they were saying that the Google AdWords can become very, very expensive. And so, but then I asked one guy kind of privately, and he said that in small markets like this one, because they have, storages like this one, they kind of get more into the community with participating, having like Charmaine, being part of the Chamber of Commerce and that kind of thing. So that's another suggestion that came in yesterday.
So what was the suggestion yesterday?
Is to be part of the of different things in the community, like being part of the.
Yeah. So I have a better way to do it.
Okay.
Okay. It's very similar, but it's a little bit better. And I was going to mention that too. So I'm just going to repeat one more time, just so we are all on the same page. So priorities: Kijiji ads, lawn signs, on-site signage. Hang on. Testimonials.
Yep.
Extra storage newsletter, eventually. And the postcards.
Well, another thing that when you say newsletter for extra storage, we have a blog in the software, but at the same time, the software also allows us to send mass emails, so we can create kind of a short paragraph on both of it, on Wyoming and Champlain, because
that's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, so we've got it all. Now, there's one other thing that you just mentioned that's really important: how to be part of the community. And I'm going to show you how to be part of the community, but also to be effective at marketing it. Okay, so let me just walk you through it. Okay, so it's a little bit hard to understand maybe. So let's say you were part of the business improvement area association, or you were part of the local chamber of commerce. That's great, nothing wrong with that. But it's a very indirect form of marketing. Charmaine goes to a chamber of commerce meeting. She stands up and says, "Hey, I'm the what was it? Project coordinator."
Property coordinator.
Property coordinator for Extra Storage Champlain. Hi, everybody. That's useful. But I'll tell you something that's even better. And I use it all the time. Ask the Chamber of Commerce, the local Chamber of Commerce, and if there's a business improvement area, and ask the township if you can sponsor their newsletters.
Okay.
Because most of them will have newsletters. So let me explain how that's relevant. When I wanted to do some coaching back about 8 or 9 years, eight years ago, I wanted to get into coaching, real estate investment and business coaching, but I didn't have any clients, right? I had zero. I had retired from the university, and I went and got some life coaching, and eventually she helped me, said, "Yeah, you might be good at this." And it turns out I am good at it.
You are. No, you are.
Thank you for I was looking for a compliment. So anyway, but I didn't know how to get the worm in the apple. This is Bruce, the worm, and here's the apple. It's got a tough skin. You want to get the worm in the apple where all the sweet stuff is. So I called up the Canada North Business Improvement Area. There's lots of BIAs in Vancouver, trust me on that. Okay?
Yeah.
There's lots of them in Ottawa. There's lots in Toronto. And I bet you there's some in Champlain as well. But anyway, so I called up the Canada North BIA because Canada is well known, as you know, for technology. I think it's the biggest concentration of tech workers in Canada. They have like 30,000 of them in that one little suburb. That's pretty big. And so I called up the BIA and I said, you guys put out a newsletter, right? She said, the lady who answered said, yes. In fact, it was Jenna Suds when she was executive director of the BIA. She's now the counselor. And I said, could I sponsor the newsletter? And she said, what do you mean? I said, well, you know, I'm going to do some real estate investment and business coaching. And I thought, you know, be nice to, you know, sponsor your newsletter so I can get my name in front of 30,000 people in Canada. Many of them, as you know, guys, many people who are in technology really like real estate, right? So she said, you know, I don't know if we would allow that, you know. And she said, I'm not sure we'd allow any ads in our newsletter. I said, well, you know, you could have a little bit of extra revenue for your BIA by allowing it. And she said, well, you're the first person to ask. I said, well, okay, can I do it? Now, if you know anything about not-for-profit organizations, they have to get board of directors approval before they go to the bathroom. Right? I mean, you know, can I go to the bathroom? Oh, we need to ask the board. So I did. So Jenna wasn't able to answer. She said, I'll have to take this up with the board. So I had to write a whole long piece, you know, why sponsorship might be a good thing, extra revenues, and let the business community talk to each other through your newsletter. And they approved it. So she calls me back, says they've approved it. I said, well, how much is it going to cost me? She said, oh, I didn't ask that. And I said, well, how about $225? She said, oh, okay. And so I wrote a little ad. It wasn't very much. It had a picture of me, you know, because I'm well known in the area. Picture of me, Prof. Bruce, founder of the Ottawa Senators. You know, I'm doing some real estate investment and business coaching. If you're happy with your, if you're not happy with your financial planner, if you're not happy with your mutual funds, if you're not happy with your RSPs and your tax-free savings account, if you want to know how to really take care of yourself and your family for 3 generations, I'm your guy. And I put my email address in there and my website. I didn't put my phone number in. I got, for my $225 ad, I got my first 6 or 7 clients.
Yeah.
Wow.
That paid off. Yeah.
And so I don't know what the ROI on that was. You know, back then I wasn't charging very much for coaching, but you know, still, you know, it was maybe $500 or $600 a month. You know, and I think there were 7 of them, so it was about, you know, $3,000 or $4,000 a month for 6 months. It was about $20,000. So I said, oh, that's a good ROI. So there will be some community organizations in Champlain that you can show support from by giving them money to, and you don't call it advertising. They don't like that word. Call it sponsorship. Marilu, you understand?
Yes, yes.
And they're going to think you are the best thing since sliced bread. Oh my God, these new people are going to give us money. You know, the Chamber of Commerce, the local business improvement, you know. But you will find, in my opinion, those ads are probably going to be more effective than running the newspaper ads.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much.
I know you got to go.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Marilu.
Okay. Okay, nice to see you.
Yeah. Okay.
So
She goes to another office. She has an office now upstairs. She
Oh, isn't that
abandoned
nice?
me. Oh yeah, she abandoned me.
I will send you a picture of my office.
okay. So there was one more thing I wanted to tell Marilu, but now she's gone. That's the end. So I had another thing for you.
Okay.
Oh, this is the last thing, Marilu. I'll just share very, very quickly. I had something else that I think maybe you've already done it, but I thought something Extra Storage could do, because you're the friendly storage place, is once a year in the spring or early part of the summer, you could do an annual community-wide garage sale. So that people who are renting from Extra Storage on that one day, we can invite the entire community. And if you have too much stuff and you want to sell some of it, we'll open all of these storage lockers. So we'll do storage wars. If you know what storage wars are?
Yeah.
At Extra Storage.
Oh, nice.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
That's a good-
So
Okay. Okay, good.
To help me, yeah.
So
Welcome
you
to
see,
get rid of
can you see the
things.
slide okay?
Yeah. This is garage sale once we get some clients in there, right?
No, but I was thinking for Wyoming too.
And Wyoming, yeah. You know, it's interesting that in Wyoming, we get one unit empty. Like we got a 10 by 20 empty about 3 days ago.
Yeah.
And now a guy is renting it. So it goes so fast in Wyoming, and we don't do basically. I mean, we got Google Maps, and that's about it. Actually, I mean, we don't do. We have a little bit of Yellow Pages, but I think Yellow Pages is a waste. I think we're paying $40 a month.
I think that's a complete waste.
Yeah, so I'm gonna cancel Yellow Pages.
I think you should. That's it for them. So I'm going to send you right now this one slide. And what I'm not kidding. I want extra storage to be like, you know, something that no one else has.
Sorry, I dropped a bunch of stuff on here. I'm just getting it together. Well, you know, in reality, now that Marilu is gone, that Marilu is not here, but she's gonna watch the recording anyway. I've been a little bit of concerned, I would say, but I should not. I know, you know, because we just starting now, right? And the word is not totally out that we are open. Because this is different than all the other projects that we have done, right? I mean, in the other projects, you know, from day one, we get income.
Yeah.
Right?
This one's done nothing.
Yeah. So
have
this
you got one client yet?
Well, you know, it's interesting. Mario, Charmaine's husband, is gonna be, I think, the first client because he wants to rent a 10 by 10.
Excellent.
So yesterday they told us, and I said, yeah, you know, great, fine. So we haven't come out to, you know, to put it on the website, not on the website, on the you know, price range and all of that. But yeah, so Mario might be the first one. And Mario, oh, by the way, Mario is gonna be doing also the snow removal.
Yeah, I saw that in your mid-month report. I read that.
Yeah, so, well, he did, I mean, he made us a proposal where at this moment I said, maybe we can postpone it for next year, but he said, why don't you buy a tractor for about $10,000. It's yours, you have it there, so you just hook up a lawn mower in the back or a snow blower in the back for the season. And it says, I will give maintenance to the tractor, and then you pay the guy that is going to be driving the tractor. So I think it might work. I mean, I think it's a good idea. We might put it on the, when we get investors, I think we're gonna add the tractor for next year, you know, so.
Yeah,
so
I wouldn't do it this year. I definitely wouldn't do it this year.
Yeah, so he has one. So he's gonna rent it. I mean, not rent it. He's gonna put the driver because Mario is I mean, he's not a young guy, and so I didn't want him to be doing the snow. I said, if you can find someone to do this, so it looked like they found a nephew that is willing to work when the snow starts. Because the guys quoted me. There was a local company that quote $3,500 for the season plus
a lot,
plus salt, plus shoveling the doors. So we calculated that it will come up to about, I don't know, 5,000, 6,000 a season. So when Mario heard that and said, "Hey, that's too much," I can buy a tractor and give you the service. I said, "Okay." So
that makes sense, man.
That's how he came out with the snow removal. And the guy, the contractor, was kind of upset when I told him no, and because he thought that he had the contract, right? Because
So what I did was I just sent you and Mary Lou these postcards, okay?
Okay.
So you can, and there's a couple of decent ones here that are, full size. So you'll be able to see them more carefully.
Yeah, the sign it. We had to put French in there also.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult for you, but the stuff that we've talked about doing today is not expensive marketing. Kijiji ads are not expensive. Sponsoring, the BIA or the city or the town or township newsletter is not expensive. Lawn signs, not expensive.
Yeah.
Sending out your own, you've got your own blog and newsletter, sending that out, not expensive. Getting some testimonials, not expensive. Google Maps, not expensive. So I do think that if you look at the marketing that we're talking about, it's in the hundreds or low thousands of dollars, and it is very effective. It will work. But it's going to take, for you and me and Mary Lou, it's going to take concerted effort between now and kind of, June, end of June of next year to fill it up. It's going to take a lot of work. But you just have to be consistent about the marketing, but do the marketing that is cheap and effective, not expensive and ineffective.
Yes. Yeah.
Yellow pages, no. And I'm not even sure I would do more newspaper ads, although I'm glad you're doing it because it's good for community building, but it's not really as effective, I don't think, as some of the other stuff.
Yeah, they were saying that this newspaper, they go to about 30,000 people in the area, all the way from Alfred to Hawkesbury, Van Cleek, that radius in there. We haven't got any we have received a couple of calls to the call center, but like you say, no emails or nothing through the website yet. So, but yeah, I mean that's just my sense at this moment, but I guess I gotta be patient because I know it's gonna take.
Ruben, you're just like me. You have the patience of a fruit fly.
Well,
I'm the same. Listen, when I start a new project, I'm all about building revenues.
Yeah.
I mean, I worry about costs, but I worry about revenues more, because when your revenues are doing this, no business goes out of business when the revenues are doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if your revenues are doing this or they're flat, that's a different thing. So I'm always focused on revenues, and so are you. But the stuff that we talked about today, the simple stuff, if you do it, you'll start to really get some traction. It's very, 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 the stuff that we're talking about is not pushing on a string, it's pulling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? If you think about Kijiji ads, it pulls people in. Google Maps pulls people in. The newsletters that are going out pulls people in. The testimonials pull people in. All of the lawn signs pull people in. All of this is pull as opposed to push, and that's what you want to do. You want to pull. Yeah,
and also I understand that we knew this, right? That we came in a little bit late in the season with this whole thing, and I said, okay, I'm prepared to ride the wave. I mean, the Westboro people, for some reason, and I don't know why actually, I asked them, they say it's like that. They set up the first payment for the mortgage until October next year. And wow. And I thought it was April, right? And I actually, reconfirmed. I said, are you sure that it's October? And the lady came back and said, yeah, it's October. I didn't ask why. I said, okay, thank you. It will be October. So that gives us a little bit more breathing room in there, right? It's $2,000 a month.
Oh no, that's great. But Ruben, I don't want to overemphasize it, but I want you to do this, because if you think about what this does is, and I would put this in some of your advertising as you get going, and I would definitely put it on your website if you're comfortable with it. But the idea of having an extra storage annual community-wide garage sale means that for everybody who's got stuff in Wyoming or in Champlain, they can actually make some money with their stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So what we're trying to do with this, that I invented that this morning for you guys. I was running on my treadmill. I've got this thing coming up with Ruben and Marilu. What can I do to help them distinguish themselves as the friendly place? This is make money from your storage locker too.
Yeah.
And if I were doing Blue Heron again, I would definitely do that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
Again, it differentiates you and it makes you even more of the friendly place. You know, Ruben and Marilu care about not just getting money from us, but helping us make money. Do you know what Storage Wars is?
Yes, I've seen a couple of little, I mean, few minutes, not the whole thing, but I know that they open this thing, they do the auction.
Yeah. So, and they're always looking for like treasures, right? Like, you know, you pull something out and it turns, you know, you pull something out and it turns out it's made by some artist in China, and this little thing is worth, you know, $50,000 or something, you know. I mean, there's always good stories like that, right?
Yeah.
So people will think about Extra Storage as being, oh my God, those guys are so nice. You know, they're trying to help us make some money from our stuff. Okay?
Yes, very good.
All right, enough of that. So the next part of your agenda was,
well, I have a couple of questions, and you brought the one for Mary and
but you wanted to talk about, didn't you want to talk about the investors first?
Yeah, well, in the investor is basically only a kind of a basic question that I want clarification.
Let's do with the investor stuff, and then we'll talk about. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. So this is the thing, and I mean I'm gonna start preparing the investor package, and I have few people that I can talk to, and this is about Champlain, right? The expansion.
Yep.
And we talked about this last time and all of that, so I'm not gonna go into that. The question is, if I go to them, say next week, right? I think there will be. I think the basic question will be, and I don't know that's where wanted your input. Do you have any clients at this moment? And okay, let's say we have one or two, whatever it is. It's different than having 20 lockers already rented. So that could be. I mean, I can put up all the numbers. I can put up all the pro forma that this place is going to make money on based on this thing. So that's my question right there. What will you suggest? I can start doing it next week. I can start making the phone calls and all of that. The pro forma is very simple, as we spoke before. You can come into a Zoom call if it's needed. So, but I just want to kind of not get that cut up on balance on that question.
So I fooled around a little bit this morning. Okay, this was just me having some fun. Okay, these are just some notes I wrote to myself in a spreadsheet, and I'll send this to you after we finish.
Okay.
So if you remember, we looked at in June. We looked at the purchase of Champlain Storage.
Yes.
Purchase price, closing costs, seller take-back mortgage, equity, the renovations, the existing sheds, what money you might make. Maybe you gravel some additional, area. You get some parking revenues. Maybe you have a couple of acres of contractor yards. So we did an analysis that said, look, maybe by this time next year, when you're finished, what you and I have started to call stage one, you could be within a year or 18 months, maybe 24 months, but you could be at $26,000 a month in income.
Yeah.
And then we had a large vacancy allowance, 15%. We found our gross income then dropped down to $268,000 a year. I took off 34% for operating expenses. It won't be that high. It left you with a net operating income of $177,000 on $670,000 investment, something like that.
Yes.
And that doesn't include the Casa Popular building. This is just, a few contractor yards and a little bit of parking and renting this. So that at the end of stage one, you could have a cap rate of 26.5%.
Yes. Yeah. I have most of the, I mean, some of these numbers change a bit, but
No.
yeah,
This is, I'm going to send you my spreadsheet, but obviously you have to go through it because you'll have the exact numbers. These are just sort of things that I was fooling around with. All right, so now I go over here, and what is my investor pitch? So I did that. You can see the date here is the 19th of November.
Yes.
Very early this morning.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to apply to this net operating income of $170,000, 177. I'm going to apply a market cap rate of 8.5%. So I think in Wyoming, in Sarnia, your applicable cap rate is probably 5.5%. But right now, because Champlain is an unknown thing, it's going to be higher. I'm talking about the fair market value cap rate. So if you have, say, a year from now or 18 months from now, you have $177,000 of net operating income, and we value that at 8.5%, it means the fair market value of Champlain storage, extra storage Champlain, will be about $2 million within about a year and a half.
Yes. Yeah.
After phase one and phase two, or stage one, whatever we call it. I got the mortgage wrong. The mortgage is only $365, right?
Yes.
Okay.
368. Yeah, 365. Yeah, 368. Yeah, it's close.
Something like that. Anyway, you could change the numbers. So it means to get to the end of phase one and phase two, or stage one, it means that Ruben and Marilu will have to find $300,000 to do this.
More than that. It's a little bit more than that, yeah.
Well, you'll change this, but
yes,
I assumed, I'm not going to change that number. I'm just going to say it would be $305,000. Maybe it's $350,000. Maybe it's $400,000. But that does not include the Casa Popular building.
Oh, I see. That's okay. So that doesn't include the.
So it only includes. Sorry, Ruben, it only includes fixing up, making sure the existing sheds, the roof is all okay. It only involves making sure your fence is up and your parking area is good. And it involves setting up a few mini contract yards. That's all I did here.
Yes.
So does not include the Casa Popular building, does not include full development. It's just got 2 acres of mini contractor yards. It's got 3 acres of RV parking, and it's got the existing 56 sheds and the fencing and the signage and all that. So I said to get to that done is about $304,500.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your total cost by that time will be $670. But the value of this business 18 months from now is $2 million. It is. All you have to do is make sure you fill up the 56 units that you've got, get some RVs and boats parking there, and maybe a few mini contractor yards, which is easy to do. It's just a little bit of fencing and gravel, so it's not complicated. And your business will be worth $2 million.
Yeah.
If we have more storage buildings, and then we had some workshops, and we had some, and we had the Casa Popular building fixed up and everything else, the cost would be higher, but the revenues would be higher. But let's not go there. Let's just keep it simple, okay?
Yeah.
Very simple stuff, not too expensive to do. You will get to a $2 million valuation, in my opinion, within a year and a half, maybe 2 years, but hopefully not. It'll be so. So I said, well, if I asked, or Ruben asked, 6 investors to put in $75,000 each, or 3 investors to put $150,000 in, okay? That would be a total of $450,000 of investment money.
Right.
How would I structure that? Well, I said I would put 50% of it in as equity and 50% in as debt, all right? So each investor, let's say I had some money and I said, Ruben, I love this idea. I like Champlain. I like what you're doing there. I'll put $75,000 in. But I would strongly advise you, and listen, if you don't like my structure, we've been through it a few times, do your own thing. I support you whatever way you decide. But I know, because I do so much of this work, that investors love putting some of their money in as debt, because they know they're going to get that back.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe, so if I put in 75,000, you would say 37,500 of that is debt and 37,500 of that is equity. So I know that my 37,500 of equity is kind of stuck in the business until something else happens down the road. But I am going to get my $37,500 back. And what I suggested was that on the 50% that is debt, you would give them a 6% interest rate and the term would be 5 years, but the interest would be capitalized, so you don't have to pay it.
Correct.
Right? So at the end, and by the way, that interest would be on a non-compounding basis.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we just added, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, simple interest. You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
All right. Because compounding is dangerous. You know, compound interest. You know, you remember what Albert Einstein said?
Yeah. Good things is compound interest.
The most powerful force in the universe is compound interest. So we would do it on a non-compounding basis. All right. So that means, you know, 6% of 225,000 is $13,500 a year of interest on the total amount. Oh, shoot. So it means that over 5 years, there would be $67,500 of simple interest, which would be added to the debt, which would be repaid in 5 years. This also would be open, so you could repay it at any time if you wanted to.
Right.
All right. So that's one thing. Then the equity would just go into the treasury of the company. So you have to watch this, okay? So I think the business will be worth about 18 months from now, 2 million or 2.1 million. And so the $225,000 of equity simply gets added to the fair market value because it goes into the treasury and increases the value of the company. So when you do that number, it means the company, you know, a year or 18 months from now is $2.3 million. We'll have some cash and of course some equity. So what that means is for the $225,000 of equity, it means the investors would end up with 9.7% of the business, and Ruben and Marilu would own just over 90% of the business.
How do you calculate that? Sorry, because
Okay.
last time we were calculating based on the money that
it's very simple to do it. So we have $225,000 of investor money. We have a business that's worth $2.3 million. It gives you 9.7%. But I just realized I did this wrong. I have to subtract from this fair market value of the business the debt. So I have to subtract. All right, so let me just do this.
So you will end up with the 2 million again.
So I'm going to, well, no, I don't think so. Because the debt includes the first mortgage, right? So minus the first mortgage, minus the investor money, which is this.
But last time we were talking about taking in consideration that we have put around 180, but I calculate a little bit more. Let's say we round it off that we already have put today, 200,000.
Yeah. So I do know that, but that's taken into account up here. You've already, according to this calculation, you will have $305,000 into it. All right.
Cash and
sweat equity.
Okay.
All right. So unfortunately, I didn't do it quite right. So it means that the investors would end up with just under 15%, and Ruben and Marilu would end up with just over 85%. These are numbers that are subject to negotiation. All right, so I'm going to save this, and I'm going to save it again as case 2, okay? We're just going to create a second case.
Yeah, because last meeting we talked about giving up 20 or 25%.
Exactly. So
of the
let's say that instead of putting in 50% equity, they put in 75%. Okay. Now they're closer to 20%.
No, I think the opposite. They will put 25% in equity and 75% in the loan. That's how you were suggesting.
No, but to get them to 20% equity, I had to change this.
Oh, I see. I got it. Yeah.
All right. So now these are the changes. So this is case 2. All right. Case 2. All right. And I'll send you these spreadsheets. You should fool around with them though, because it has to be something that makes sense to you. So if they put 75% of their money in as equity, they get more of the business and they have less debt, right? So you can just fool around with this in any way that you want to, and you can fool around with it. But whatever happens, I don't think you're going to drop below 80%. Now, hang on a second. What if I were to change? I'm going to do a case 3. All right, I'm going to save it again, and I'm going to call it case 3. All right, so just to show you what happens. All right, so we're going to call this case 3, and I'm going to change the color. All right, and I'll go with orange this time. All right, so I'm going to leave it at 75% equity and 25% debt and this and this. But I'm going to assume now that they're going to say, well, Ruben, this is a valuation of the company 18 months from now. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply a higher cap rate to account for some of the risk. And maybe there's a marketing risk or there's some other kind of a risk. So what happens if I change this number, this cap rate? Okay, so watch what happens when I change the cap rate. So I'm going to assume now, like, we're really going to punish Ruben and Marilu. We're going to say, we don't really believe that you're going to do this in 18 months. It's probably going to take you 5 years, yada, yada, yada. So we're going to change this cap rate to 11.5. Okay, now when I hit the enter, I want you to watch what happens down here, okay? I'm going to hit enter now.
They go with 25%. Right. So
what I'm trying to say to you is that there's no, you know, it's not like God has a formula, you know, or Einstein has a formula, E equals MC squared, you know, that works, you know, or 1 + 1 = 2. When you're dealing with investors, you know.
Well, I just, okay, this is kind of answering my question, because if we go with a higher cap rate, I will be more, or I will be showing more concern for the risk. That's what I'm.
That's exactly right. Yeah,
right.
That's exactly right.
So they will. I mean, the guys that I talk to, they you know, they know some stuff. Some they don't know, and they trust us, right? But by me explaining this with a higher cap rate means, okay, we're accounting for, we don't have all these units totally rented at the moment. We are going into the winter season, but we are doing all of this marketing for the spring. I guess that was my question a couple of days ago. I said, well,
exactly. So I have a case 4 for you, okay? So this is another case. And this is probably what I would recommend. All right?
Okay.
So I'm going to go case 4. I'm going to apply that very high cap rate, which is really punitive. But I'm going to go back to the 50% equity and debt, because if I were talking to investors, just having done so much of it, they tend to be comfortable. I'm going to put half of my money in as equity. I know it'll be stuck in there until something else happens, but I want the other half. So I'm going to change this from 75% to 50%. It means that now they're at around 20%. Marilu and Ruben are at 80%, and that is about right. That, I think, is very sellable. And if I were, now I'm only representing you and Marilu, but if I were representing, you know, if I were giving advice to everybody, including, you know, 2 investors or 4 investors or 6 investors, this is what I would recommend. You're going to own 20% of a wonderful business. You're going to have 2 really good operators, Ruben and Marilu, so you don't have to worry about anything. And you remember that I wanted you to put in here as well that they would get preferred shares. You remember that?
Yeah.
They would have dividend protection. They'd be favored if there's ever a windup. They would be non-voting shares, and there would be tag-along provisions. You remember all of that?
What is the tag along?
So, so you know what non-voting is.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know what a windup is.
Wind up if we refinance or if we sell, right?
No, a windup is, let's say something bad happens and the company is wound up, or you just decide, you know, we're going to wind up the company. When you wind up a company, the company comes to an end, and the assets are distributed to the shareholders.
Yeah.
First of all, you pay off your debt. Secondly, you pay off your preferred shareholders, and anything left over goes to the common shareholders, which is you and Marilu.
Mm-hmm.
So they have wind-up protection, they have dividend protection, they have preferred shares, they are non-voting. Tag-along provisions, what that means is that the preferred shareholders, let's say a big company comes along, say Extra Storage has 20 places, and a big public company comes along and says, hey, listen, we want to buy you out for 20 million bucks. But we're only going to buy the common shares. We're only going to buy the shares that belong to you and Marilu. So we're only going to pay $16 million. The preferred shareholders, too bad, they're not getting a thing. That's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's an offer to you for your shares, common shares, the same offer has to be made to the preferred shareholders.
Okay.
You cannot
Right.
favor yourself over your preferred shareholders. That I think you would put in, and if you don't put it in, it's really not fair to your preferred shareholders.
Yeah.
Right?
The other question on this one, on this table is, and I think we talk about this one also, is the debt. There will be no collateral to the debt. It will be a debt that the company, RMDR Storage, is assuming because we won't be able to set up a second mortgage on that property.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I'll put that in here as well. That the debt is it's corporate debt, and it could be a simple. Oh shoot, I spelled it wrong. Corp.
Yeah, it's corporate. Yeah, it's corporate debt. I mean, it could be
corporate debt, and it could be as simple as you know, some promissory notes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a lawyer like Steve Shepard can draw up a promissory note. He's got 1 million of them on his computer. You know, for $175, he'll give you promissory notes and you can just sign them.
Yeah, no, I mean, and we spoke about briefly about doing this with Steve, but I just wanted to have it more clear on that. Okay, no, that's very good. I think that answers. I can start preparing my case, and it's not gonna be to 100 people. I mean, I'm gonna find 3-4 people that will be interested on this one, but I just wanted to make sure that that question will come in and say, well, how many clients you have, and say, well, at the moment we are starting. This is like a new building. It's like a new development.
Exactly.
And so, openly, I can say, okay, no, we don't have any customers, but we are doing all of this that we just listed today. So after the winter, we are sure that we're gonna get all of these units, filled up, parking and all of that thing, right? So I will recalculate the investment. Mario is gonna give me a quote today about the gravel, because the quote that we got from the other guy was so expensive that we didn't like it.
What did he quote you?
Well, he was quoting about close to about $4 a square foot, and
$4 a square foot.
Yeah.
Oh.
But then Mario came in because he was saying, well, we have to dig in 12 inches, and then Mario came in and it says, you don't have to dig in 12 inches because there's pure clay and rock on this property. So if you dig in 6 to 8 inches, I mean, Mario knows that piece of land, right? So
he does, yeah. But the other guy is right. If it's soft clay, you're going to need 12 to maybe even 14 inches if it's soft clay. You need B and then A.
Yeah,
But if it's sand or it's sandy loam or it's hard packed clay and it's got some rock in it, 6 or 8 inches is probably fine.
yeah. So we and yesterday I spoke with the planner Jennifer, and Jennifer at the moment is kind of, I would say, stuck on giving us only the 8,000 square
Yeah, I
feet
saw that.
on the parking, and I said, okay, send me something. I've been chasing this girl for for I don't know how many weeks, but we are okay in that regard, because the idea of parking inside the fence at the moment is going to be temporary. But this is the but. That piece of land that is in front of the buildings that is empty, that we have deemed to be for new buildings, well, I think we're going to have to make that decision and see if actually that is for new buildings for storage lockers or not, right? That's because depending on what will be the interest on the area, because it's a big piece of land already flat, right, and clean, so doesn't have any gravel or anything like that, but it's talking about these other ideas, right, that we have. So,
well, I can tell you, if it was $4 a square foot for gravel, on 43,560 square feet in an acre, that's like 170 or 180,000 an acre. And if that were the cost, it's time to go and commit suicide right now. I mean, that is ridiculous. We're doing it in Ottawa for 40,000 an acre.
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah,
about $1 a square foot.
Well, I'm gonna see what happened is, and this is one of the things, I came into this project with, I would say, with a sense of hurry, right, to open before the snow comes in. I mean, and I know that I overpaid on fence, for sure. I overpaid on the fence, because we noticed, and like these guys, the contractors, they sense that thing that, okay, we're in a hurry. These guys are from Vancouver. We're gonna overcharge. I know that. I say, okay, that's it. I mean, this is the end of it. Next year, we're gonna do, properly, quote 3 companies and all of that. So, but I mean,
I can tell you that this year, the price for lumber is up at least 30%. The price for labor is way up, because there are a lot of people who were just sitting on their derrieres, sitting on their bums, collecting the CERB benefit.
Yeah.
And smoking weed. So they were just literally, I mean, if you could make $2,000 a month and sit at home and play video games, why would you go and break your back, being a laborer?
Yeah, that's how the guy of the snow came in so high. And so, I mean, it's actually a blessing that we have Mario and Charmaine.
I think it's one of those things that, but the fact is that construction this year, and I guess at least part of next year, is really hard. I mean, I am paying prices like, I had to put heat into one of my buildings, and just a couple of big mechanical heaters, that sit up. It's just a warehouse, and the first quote I got was $19,000 for two natural gas heaters, in a commercial space. And I thought, okay, now I'm going to jump off a bridge. And my project manager is my wife, Dawn. And I said, I didn't say anything, actually. She said, this is ridiculous. And so she got a couple of other quotes, and one came in, I think, at 13,000, still really ridiculously high, but better than 19.
Yeah.
So next year, you definitely are going to get 3 quotes. And, it does appear as if it's now likely that we will be getting a vaccine sometime in the new year.
Yeah,
it looks very promising.
I mean, the good thing is that we have lights on the building. We have the cameras installed. Let me show you the lights. I'm just gonna share it again.
Yeah, please.
Let me find the picture that I had yesterday from Charmaine. Because these guys, I mean, I don't know what they thinking, but they don't listen or they don't write down. But it was my mistake of not giving them kind of an actual drawing for the lights. I thought it was very simple, and they installed it wrong. So Yeah, it's one of those things like you say, well, this is an electrical company, right? I mean, why they will install it wrong, right?
I can't believe they did it, but I guess it happens.
Yeah, it happens. So let me, I think it's this one here. The only thing that I don't think it works, is the sign. We're gonna have to make some changes for that sign later, the one that is on top of the house. But let me just show you quickly here. See the way it is.
I see it.
So yeah, you know, it was so very simple. I say I want the light here on this corner,
Absolutely.
and on the other corner. So no, but they installed it on the other side of the house. I look at the first picture from Charmaine, say the light is wrong. Now they came back and they said, "Oh, we fix it." And then they sent me this picture. Said, "What? It's on top of the door." And then at a certain point, Marilu said, "Let's just leave it like that. We'll fix it next year." I mean, I'm not gonna get more into my stomach about. I say, how can they not understand what I'm telling them, right? But it is what it is.
It may be a language barrier. They might be very French.
I don't know, because you know the other thing that they did the very first time, I told them, I said, you need to call Charmaine, you need to go in, you know, and coordinate with her for the key. Well, they go in there at 7:15, 7:30. They don't call Charmaine. They go through one of these windows through the basement, and then they start doing the installation. I got so upset. I actually sent an email to the owner and all of that. I said, well, how can you think about that? You're gonna go into a house like this. There was already cameras inside there, right?
Wow.
And I even told him, I said, look, send me the invoice, and I'm not gonna, actually I told him right on the email, I said, this is the only project that I'm gonna hire you, because this is not the way we work, right? The owner didn't even reply, right? And
he did not reply?
He did not reply. And wow. I was with the owner inside this building when we were there. And then I get the picture and the light is wrong. The light is on this side. And I said, oh man, again, another thing. So, okay, that's the story of the light.
I have a question for you. Stop sharing your screen now.
Yeah.
That's terrible. I mean, it's hopeless. But I have a question for you on the investors. One of the questions that the investors are going to ask you is, can they, I mean, if I were an investor, I would ask you this question, whether you would agree or not, I don't know. But can I participate in Extra Storage Wyoming? Can I participate in Extra Storage Smith Falls? Do I get to participate in any future investments?
I would say on future investments, but not in Wyoming, because Wyoming is already owned by Solalma, which is a company that we set up in 2016 with the buildings, with the investor. It's not a one single company that owns Wyoming per se, like Champlain. But RMDR storage can grow, like let's say something like Smith Falls, right? We can grow with RMDR storage, and they're going to be shareholders of RMDR storage.
Right. No. They're going to be shareholders of Extra Storage Champlain, not of the parent company.
Well, Extra Storage Champlain doesn't exist as a company. The company in Champlain is RMDR Storage Corporation.
But does RMDR Storage have any other ownership interests?
Yes, at this moment, RMDR Global, the parent company, is 100% owner of RMDR Storage. That's how we set it up with Steve.
Okay, so, but RMDR Storage,
yes,
owns 100% of Extra Storage Champlain.
Correct, yes.
But it does not own anything else.
No.
Okay.
No.
So help me out again. I'm going to write it out. What's it called?
Okay, RMDR Global. Let's do it. I think maybe I should send you RMDR Global. Can I show you a schematic in here, so that way it will be easier?
Yep.
If we can discuss it, let me show you quickly here. Schematic. Because we are running out of time, but
it's okay. We're gonna deal with it, and then we'll deal with the next thing.
Yeah. So let me show you here. Okay, this is the thing that I sent to the.
Go share your screen with me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the screen sharing here. Oh wait, give me a minute. I just gotta get another. I'm gonna open two charts in here. Oh, come on, Ruben. Okay, here you go. Coming back to sharing here, I'll share two here. This is the original one before Champlain. Okay, so this is before Champlain. I'll show you the one Champlain. So this is how it is. Solarma, okay, RMDR Global is the, if we call it the parent company, which is 50-50 with Marilu and me. And then this company owns 50% of shares of this company, which is called Solarma. Now, this company owns this apartment building, and the self-storage.
Okay. And
this is one investor, one lady that put all the money when we bought this thing, right?
Okay.
So then we went and we bought another couple of properties with this company, 103. And so RMDR Global is 100%. So this is ours, right, per se. And this company owns two buildings. This is a fiveplex, and this is a house. And this is where the new project will come in for a new apartment building, right here on this corner. So then the last project was this one last year, where we got this other company. This is four couples, actually, 8 people, that they own 65% of Indian Road, 700 Indian Road. We own, like RMDR owns 35%.
So what's at 700 Indian Road?
This one is the 18 unit building, the one that we refinanced this year.
Okay, so where does Champlain fit in?
Okay, so then we just add it in here, right? And it's right here. So basically, I don't put the other two in here, but this is where Champlain comes from.
Okay, all right, I got it. Okay, leave this on the screen, okay?
Yeah.
So I sent you those 4 spreadsheets that we did, okay? The 4 cases.
Yeah.
So the investors are going to own, I'm guessing, 20% of RMDR Storage Limited.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And RMDR Global is going to own 80% of RMDR Storage Limited, and 20% will be owned by these investors. That's probably what's going to happen.
Yes.
But one of the things I'd like you to put into the investor package is that they get the first option to participate in any additional storage facilities that RMDR Global Enterprises acquires.
Yeah.
So, but it's not a right of first refusal, it's a right of first option.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
So what that means is, let's say you bought, Stittsville.
Mm-hmm.
No, not Stittsville, excuse me, Smith Falls. Let's say you bought Smith Falls and you wanted to raise another $450,000 or $350,000 or whatever you wanted to expand it. You would then go back to the original investors in RMDR Storage Limited. You'd go back to them and say, hey, listen, I've got a deal coming up with Mary Greer and Gary Greer. I'd like to raise another $450,000. Would you like to participate? That's all you have to do, is you go to them and you give them the first option. Here's what I'm doing. Here's the offering. Here's the percentage ownership. Here's the debt structure. Are you interested? Then they have sort of typically 5 to 10 business days to say, yeah, we'd love to do that, or no. If they say no, that's it, you just move on. So it's not a right of first refusal. You know the difference, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, because a right of first refusal puts you in handcuffs.
Yes, yeah.
So it's just that as an incentive, so that as our RMDR Global continues to add more extra storage facilities, here, there, and everywhere, they have the opportunity to invest in those if they want to, but they're not required to, and nor are you required, other than giving them a first look at it, basically, there's no further requirements.
Correct. The thing that we have to kind of think about that also is because, as you see now, if I add the other two here, now we are dealing with 4 different companies. I was wondering, I haven't asked this to Steve, is how can we continue having RMDR Storage Limited buy more properties and bring in different investors? And I think
it's going to be way too complicated. Please. Remember, the one thing I preach, if you learn nothing else from me, complexity is the enemy of success.
Yeah.
Complexity is the enemy of success. And so our MDR Storage Limited owns Longai, and that's all it's ever going to own. And then you're going to have our MDR Storage Limited 2 is going to own Smith Falls, and our MDR Storage Limited 3 is going to own the next one after that, because it just gets way too complicated to do that. And at some point, you will stop having partners.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're starting to make hundreds of thousands and then possibly millions of dollars a year, you'll just buy them for our MDR Global Enterprises. You'll own 100% of them, and that's it. But it's okay if you have under this structure. Right now, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 companies under it. You could add another 4 or another 5 or 6 that you can manage. But once you get to 4, 5, or 6 locations, then or 8, the 9th, the 10th, the 12th, you will just own them 100%.
Okay.
But right now, cash is king, especially as this pandemic worsens.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So I want to share my screen with you, and I want to talk again about this that we looked at with Mary and Gary.
I sent a short email to them, saying it was a pleasure, all of that. You saw it, and they replied, but they didn't reply to you, just to me, saying, yeah, it was a pleasure. Next time that you are in the area, we can meet again. And that's it. I left it at that point because I said, this is, it's in your court, because that's what you said, right?
Right. So for full disclosure, a large storage company, very large, a national company, has approached Mary and Gary about buying the business.
Mm-hmm.
However, when you deal with a large organization, they're more bureaucratic than the Canadian government.
Yeah.
They move. Here's them moving. Okay. So if we were doing a deal, Ruben and Marilu, Bruce, Mary, Greer, and Gary, this is what we would do. We would just get it done. These guys, because they're publicly traded and they have all kinds of bureaucracy, I'm not kidding. To do a deal with those companies takes anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. I've done some of the deals with these guys before. And Mary was all excited about it. She loved you and Mary Lou, don't get me wrong. And I'm sure she'd rather sell to you guys. But she's getting older and it's getting more difficult to continue on. So I didn't tell her this, but today is an important discussion for you and me. You and Mary Lou do not have to do a damn thing. Don't worry about Mary and Gary Greer. If they want this sold, I'll get it sold for them, even if it takes 6 months or a year to get it sold to these other guys. But speaking again, just personally, I'd rather have it sold to you and Mary Lou if you're interested. But if you're not interested, that's fine too. Either way, obviously there's no reason for you to buy it other than if you want to buy it. But what I see with this place is the same kind of opportunity that I saw with Champlain, and this might actually be a little bit better just because it's in the west end of Ottawa, which tends to have a little bit more money than the east end, but that maybe not as true as it used to be. But I like this as well. we've looked at all the different things. You remember we went through all of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you were right to point out that her expenses are very low. Like her expenses are only, according to her, only about $10,000 a year. She doesn't value her time. She doesn't value Gary's time. And, you know, and I'll bet you're right. He probably does. I'm sure he does his own snow removal. So her expenses are probably a bit low, but look at this number, Ruben, $87.50 per container. What did she tell us she was charging now?
I think they're charging 90 or something, 90.
Oh, no,
90.
it was more than that. It was over 100. I think it was 105 or 115. I just couldn't remember.
110, I think.
It was 110.
Yeah.
You know, so one of the things that gives me some level of comfort is that this would be higher, obviously, if you and Mary Lou took it over, but this would be higher too.
Yeah, I know, but I think the bottom question, well, I think we got to touch 2 points. One, yes, we are interested. I really like that property. But I think this and I'm sure that we can do basically the same thing. We can raise the money here, you know, whatever. I don't even have an idea at this moment how much it would be, but yes, this is a bit different because, you know, like at the beginning of this meeting where this one has clients already, right? And I think Smith Falls is a place that is coming up. So the answer to that one is yes. Okay. Now the price can be debatable, but I think it boils down to what actually they want to do. Mary and Gary, what they want to do. I mean, do they actually want to take on like your idea about they providing the vendor take back mortgage, that they will be shareholders? I think that's the question, besides all the numbers and the potential and everything. So and that is so
I do think they can provide the financing. I think that's, you know, because they admitted it to you, or not admitted it, they disclosed that they have no debt on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So you know, I mean, you could pay them $10 million as long as it was $1 a year for 10 million years, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So you know, so there's we don't actually have to worry too much about the price, because if they're providing the financing, we could certainly, you know, play with that a little bit, if you know what I mean.
But what do you suggest? You suggest that, like, you know, we send a letter of intent, because on the email she's saying about, hey, let's meet again, but
no, we're not going to meet again. What I was going to do, have you and I done a deal points memo together? Have you and I ever done a deal points memo?
Well, you send me a couple of examples, and yeah, I do have a couple of others, but you know, we can work on something.
What I was going to suggest, okay, is that you have these slides, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I was going to suggest that you know, I think a price between $1.4 and $1.5 million makes some sense. I do. A down payment of about $240,000. A seller take back. We can fool around with that, but for 7 years. Mary and Gary end up with 25%, and Mary Lou and Ruben end up with 75%. And we can certainly as well put in another, you know, we could raise, I'm sure for this one, we could raise another $350,000 to $450,000. I think you want to raise significant amounts of money, because it just, money talks and BS walks. And right now, cash is really important. So we could dilute Mary down to say 20% or 15%, and Mary Lou and Ruben down to 65%, and probably raise $450,000 with this business.
Oh yeah, no, I would be open for that. I mean, if and that's again is the question. If they want to continue, maybe they don't, maybe they.
Oh, yeah, well, we'll give them that option. But what I was going to ask you to do is to take one of my deal points memos and this. I mean, I could do it, but I think it's better if you do the first draft and I do the second, because I'm coaching. And you know, if I do all the work, then I might as well be a realtor, and I can make a lot more money as a realtor. You know, if I get you know 5% commission on $1.5 million, it's $75,000, a lot more than $850 for some coaching. So I think I do think that what I was going to ask you to do is to create a deal points memo. I'll send it to me. I'll do the second draft. I'll get you to approve it. And then I'm going to see if Mary and Gary will approve it. If they do, then let's do an agreement of purchase and sale.
I mean, I'm open to that.
I do think so. And you know, I think, you know, 80% of the financing will come from them. I think they'll be happy with that. And I have some ideas of what goes into that deal points memo. So you just do your best, do a first cut at it, and I'll do the second. And then we'll see if we can tie this one up for you too, because to have, you know, the East End and the West End in Ottawa tied up would be pretty cool.
Yeah. So are you going to be representing them as a realtor? How are you going to handle it?
I think probably because I'll be so involved is I probably will ask Mary and Gary. I haven't really thought about it, but I'll probably ask them for a 2.5% commission, you know, for me.
Okay.
Actually, for Century 21, it won't be very much. I won't ask them for 5%. That's not fair. But it might be 2.5%, might be 3%. I'm sure they would be okay with that. You know, they seem to like me for some reason, and they do know that I'm a poor professor. So if I got 3% on $1.5 million, you know, that'd be $40,000 or $50,000. That would be a very meaningful commission for somebody like me. So I think they probably do that for me. But I do think that I can bring the deal together, and I'd much rather, certainly if this other company that's publicly traded, if they make an offer, I do not want Mary and Gary to sell it to them and take shares.
Right. Yeah.
You know, because a lot of these publicly traded companies say, yeah, we'll give you $1.5 million worth of our shares, and it's trading at $9, and the next year you check back and it's trading at $3.
Yeah.
So
no, I think it will be good. And then I guess maybe if they're gonna be partners, then we have to decide. Okay, again, same as the other one. How they gonna be partners in the meeting?
I want Mary Lou and Ruben running it, not Mary and Gary.
That's the other thing, right?
No, they're not running it. With all due respect, you know, Charmaine is I'm sure a wonderful person, but she's the property coordinator. She's not the owner.
Yes.
You are. And we would give Mary and Gary preferred shares, exactly the same as any investor.
Okay. And then the other one will find someone in town, the same as in Champlain.
Yeah, because the whole point of this is not to burden Mary with a continuing operation.
Right.
And you know, and look, we all get to the point where we're too old to do the stuff we did, you know, a decade or two earlier. We get there. And Mary's at that point now. So she would be just like any investor. She and Gary would be preferred shareholders, just like the others. And they have no say in the business whatsoever. You and Mary Lou are going to run. Otherwise, this is of no interest to me on your behalf.
Okay. And then the other thing is, since they are at that age, do they have other things to do if they let go on the day-to-day on this thing? Because
you remember we're going to exclude that 5 acres because that Gary wants to turn that into a waste transfer station.
Okay, so he's going to be working on something.
He'll have lots of things to do, and I'm okay, for example, hiring Gary if he wants to do it to remove the snow. I mean, that's fine.
Right. Okay.
That's our sort of stuff, but all the marketing, you know, and everything else, all the pricing decisions, everything will be you and Mary Lou and Extra Storage. Nobody else.
Right.
It'd be exactly. But you need to do the deal points memo. Put in all your, you know, it's like writing a letter to Santa Claus. Dear Santa, this is what I'd like. Send it to me. I'll do the second version. You and Mary Lou approve it. Then I'll go and see Mary and Gary. And if they approve it, then we're going to friggin' do this deal. And they'll provide, I'm quite sure, confident that they'll provide 80% of the financing for 7 years.
Okay, and that will be all on the letter of intent, right? On the
Oh, it goes into the deal points, but all of that is in my slide deck, which you have.
yes, yes,
All right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
do that for me. I know you're good at this. You're an engineer. You're not lazy. One thing we know about engineers is they know how to work. I
Okay.
have to go. It's
Yeah, I
been a
know.
great pleasure to see you as always. And I missed that Marilu couldn't be here for the last hour, but c'est la vie.
We're gonna have to. It was a little bit of part of my oversight. We're gonna have to when we set up the next meeting. Which, by the way, in December I got two of these assessments. You know, I do this assessment for ANAB and SEC. So I got 2 weeks back to back from
Wow.
the 7th to the 11th.
So
And
can you send me the dates that you're available in December? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, okay. Thank you, Bruce.
I really enjoyed it, and this will be on YouTube in another hour or two.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Have a great day.
You too.